weather looks really nice today. Made it kind of hard to determine, okay, which path should I go by today? There's a lot of good captures. And what did I read today? How about this one? Where apparently there was this investigation, I guess, with a bunch of people doing crimes with drones, and apparently it led up to, 1,000 charges or something like that? Governor Brian P. Kemp announced today that in a continuing investigative effort between the Georgia Department of Corrections and the Federal Bureau of Investigation Safety Streets Gang Task Force, search and rescue warrants were served today at 2 locations in the metro Atlanta area, effectively shutting down a sophisticated, multi-state criminal enterprise that included civilians, inmates, and staff involved in contraband introduction into GDC facilities. Oh, it's one of those things you just never know who could be doing stuff like this, huh? It says, Georgia will not tolerate those who put our communities at risk by trafficking drugs, weapons, and contraband, both in and out of our correctional facilities, said Governor Brian Kemp. I want to thank Commissioner Oliver, the hardworking men and women of the GDC, and all law enforcement who work to shut these operations down and help keep both Georgians and our correctional facilities safe. Dubbed Operation Skyhawk, the months-long investigation into contraband at GDC facilities revealed the use of drones to facilitate the introduction of contraband. That discovery led to the arrest of 150 suspects, including 8 GDC employees who were immediately terminated. Oh, imagine that, people working internally in the system too. It says with a combined total of over 1,000 criminal charges stemming from contraband introduction, drug trafficking, and felons in possession of firearms, many of the individuals arrested will also be facing Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act charges and participation in criminal gang activity in multiple venues across the state, resulting in what will be possibly the largest gang RICO in the state's history. Yeah, you're telling me that's a lot of people. Again, it ranges from everyone, like a regular civilian per se, to people who actually work, I guess, in the area. And then they have like this, I guess, list of sort of all the stuff that they found. It says the street value is over $7 million and 87 drones, 22 weapons, marijuana, tobacco, cell phones, and so forth. Just kind of makes you think, I guess, in general, again, criminals are going to find ways, huh? It doesn't matter what it is, you have to find ways to deal with them, and you can't just, I guess, stereotype this, oh, it's these specific groups of people all the time. Like this one shows it's everyone, literally. You have to find ways to deal with people like that, right? And then there was more news of people, I guess, using drones in a bad way. This one says, Mexican authorities investigating after alleged cartel drone attack. It says 2 days after alleged cartel-controlled drones were used during an attack in a remote Mexican village in the state of Guerrero, another city in the same state erupted in gunfire when armed men descended on a local cockfight. The attack is believed to involve drones operated by cartel members as well as gunmen, according to the religious and human rights organization Minvero Bello Center, the Associated Press reports. Jose Filiberto Velazquez, the center's director, told the AP that community members contacted the center Thursday afternoon telling him that the cartel, La Familia Michoacana, was using drones to launch, quote, explosive devices. Soon after, Velazquez could not establish further contact with the town, he told the outlet. Such tech-heavy attacks are becoming more common, with drug organizations even charging locals for cartel-operated Wi-Fi in the country. I've yet to hear, actually, any particular story on how, let's just say, all that registration, that testing, for example, that's more geared with traditional manned aviation, stops stuff like this. And this was kind of odd when I read this. I was wondering, is this real? There's apparently a solar eclipse that's going to take place, and as you can imagine, depending on where you are, you can get a better view. And because certain areas are going to be, I guess, heavily populated with more people to view it, they're declaring it a state of emergency. I was like, is this again for real? It says Niagara region declares state of emergency to prepare for solar eclipse crowds. Niagara region has declared a state of emergency to deal with an expected influx of 1 million visitors hoping to catch a glimpse of the next month's eclipse. On April 8th, all of Niagara will be one of the best places in Canada to view the total solar eclipse, and thousands of visitors are expected to come to our region to see it, the Ontario region said in a statement. Declaring a state of emergency under the EMCPA strengthens the tools the region has at its disposal to safeguard the health and safety of residents and visitors and protect our critical infrastructure in any scenario that might arise. Yeah, so you can imagine this is generating a lot of controversy with a lot of people saying, really? Using this just so you can make, I guess, more resources and stuff available to you? And some people are arguing, well, this has happened in the past before, people gathering around watching an eclipse, but you don't see, for example, people declaring that as a state of emergency. What is going on here? Do you actually agree with this, for example? Like, it makes sense to me. It doesn't seem proper, like it's not being used as intended. And the last thing I read was interesting. It dealt with AI again, with the company OpenAI, and apparently they introduced, I guess, their software that actually enables the AI to generate or replicate someone's voice in different languages. Like this one says, navigating the challenges and opportunities of synthetic voices. So as they say here, what this program does is it first takes, for example, the original audio, which they have here as the reference audio, and with that voice, I guess the program analyzes everything and it could literally translate that voice into another language, and in many ways you can't really tell the difference when you're just listening to it. So here's one example first.
Friendship is a universal treasure. It brings joy, support, and laughter into our lives no matter where we are in the world. True friends stand by us through thick and thin, sharing our joys and easing our sorrows. Let's celebrate the bonds of friendship that connect us all across every language and culture. L'amitié est un trésor universel. D'où que nous venons, elle apporte joie, soutien et rire dans nos vies. 友谊是一种普遍的财富，无论我们身在世界何处，它都会给我们的生活带来快乐、支持和笑声。
And then the other examples where they took the original audio and then they made the person say something completely different. I suppose just taking bits of words, for example, from the soundbite and generating different sentences at the same time, being able to do that in different languages as well. It's kind of crazy.
Force is a push or pull that can make an object move, stop, or change direction. Imagine you're riding a bike down a hill. First, the push you give off the ground is the force that gets you going. Some of the most amazing habitats on Earth are found in the rainforest. A rainforest is a place with a lot of precipitation, and it has many kinds of animals, trees, and other plants. Tropical rainforests are usually not too far from the equator and are warm all year.
I can imagine this will be even riskier if you release that to the public and so forth, because there's no video or anything like that here. Imagine people just sending this out saying, oh, here's a soundbite of someone saying this, for example, and it ended up not being true. Now, because of that, apparently the company recognizes how if it got into the wrong hands, people could use it in a really bad way. It says, we first developed Voice Engine in late 2022 and have used it to power the present voices available in the text-to-speech API as well as ChatGPT voice and read aloud. At the same time, we are taking cautious and informed approach to a broader release due to the potential for synthetic voice misuse. We hope to start a dialogue on the responsible deployment of synthetic voices and how society can adapt to these new capabilities. Yeah, imagine someone wanting to use this as a way to persecute someone, for example. How would that work now in the future? Where I guess you could say, well, if you're saying this is true, then let me see the original source, for example. Like it could be from the recorder or whatever. I would imagine that's how it would have to be anyways. I know for things, for example, like video and pictures, a lot of companies are actually adding information into the files to authenticate it as being original and all that. So it makes me wonder, are people going to expect that, for example, in the future, for people to say, yes, this is real and not AI generated? All right, see you guys later.